What's up, YouTube's Dubk Dad? Part 2 North American World Championship Qualifier. Today we're going to be discussing the two field card decks, Spellbooks and Sylvans, as you can see here in my collapsible, lazily put together image. um, to start off, the you guys already know about the different matchups we were talking about yesterday. Um, the 8 decks I feel that are going to be the ones to look out for. And now we're going to discuss the obstacles and advantages that our two field spell decks have going into this event. All right, Sylvans. Now, Sylvans is a deck that when it gets rolling, it's pretty hardcore. The problem is getting rolling. If you're not hitting your excavations, you're not dropping Felgrand, and dropping a big beater on the field every turn, you're not winning. If you're not seeing Mount Sylvania, you're not winning, because I've noticed that in my games, the games where I'm not resolving Mount Sylvania every turn, I'm not winning. And it's strange how that works, but the deck is very reliant on Sylvania. Yes, you can win games without it, but then that also requires you to have like Felgrand and other beat sticks. But if you're staring at multiple back row, just throwing your hard-earned exceed monsters into back row is not always smart. So you need Sylvania to generate pluses, to fix your draw phase, those kind of things. You need that going to alleviate the pressure, so to speak. Now, going up against Mermails, and I'm just going to be mainly speaking from my experience, because believe it or not, I've played every single deck that's posted up here, just so I can know the ins and out of them. So starting with Mermails, the thing about Mermails is that deck can put so much pressure on you. I mean, it's not even funny. The random Abyss Megalo drops, the crashing with Lindy, and then dropping lead or making title, dropping title, and then summoning controller for Leo that can run over your Felgrand, all those things, no problem. And they don't have to worry about your back row because you don't play any back row, and they can play back row, and they can reliably side cards because they're not constantly putting their side cards to the bottom of their deck. And so those things become a problem. Them being able to spit out monsters more consistently without the help of soul charge than you. Just straight up, just dropping your life points to 0 before you can even set up. That becomes a problem. The advantage we have, though, is we can make Crimson Blader. Sylvans can make Crimson Blader. So an early Crimson Blader on a lone Teus or a lone Pike will wrap it. We'll pretty much wrap it up. You drop a Crimson Blader, the main phase 2, turn the Crimson Blader into Felgrand, and your odds of winning that game significantly increase. Against the different artifact decks, Nephew May Capital G was talking about the new artifact variant with the Fire Fist engine. Yeah, it's a very real deck. Hat, in my opinion, is a terrible linear deck. The hands, they're just the hands aren't as great as they used to be. People know how to play around them, and just that sort of passive play, that waiting for your hands to get destroyed or just ramming them. That doesn't always work out the way you want to. You want to be able to go aggressive when your opponent is putting big monsters on the field. You don't want to just sit there with your little puny ice hand and fire hands. You want to go on the offensive, and Fire Fist complements that nicely. So in addition to the disruption they run, the Fire Fist engine, Moral Attack, Sanctum, searching the various trap hole cards, especially Deep Dark Trap Hole on your Soul Charge play. If you don't have the Archer, oh my god, that shit sucks so freaking bad. I ran into a Deep Dark Trap Hole in the main deck, and I just scooped right there. I was like, oh, I was not prepared for that. Bottomless was gone, so I was just trying to play around Trap Tricks Hole Nightmare. Nope. Ran into Deep Dark Trap Hole in the main, so I was just like, damn, that sucks. So yeah, those kind of those back row things are gonna be a problem. Again, Sylvan players, you'll have to set up your board such that you put the monsters on the field that are immune to the back row. You know, your Felgrins, start a Spark. Um, have your Chalice's Effect Veilers ready for the Diane play. Diane into Murmillo, because Felgrand just isn't a beast sometimes to a lot of these decks anymore, because they have so many different ways to play around them. They have so many different effects that can threaten Felgrand that you have to use it right away. They can end phase bait an effect or bait a negation with Felgrand with Marltech, and then on their turn, um, they can maybe tribute summon like a Murmillo that you didn't attack over for another Marltech if they drew it, overlay into Pleiades, use the effect, you negate, and then they can soul charge, get back to all their Murmillos, pop your field spell, pop your miracle fertilizers, and then go into 101 and take your shit. So they have ways to play around that, so you have to be careful. Dragon rulers, they can more consistently drop Crimson Blader, and let me tell you, Crimson Blader on your Marshal Leaf sucks so much balls. Blast running into your Felgrand, Colossal Fighter running into your Felgrand, and then taking the blaster out of your grave and then swinging over your Hermitry sucks so bad. So yeah, man, just let me tell you that that matchup, you guys have, it's like a waltz. You just have to, the ebb and flow of that matchup is just so crazy at time. You drop the blader too soon. Dragon rulers can run back row while the Sylvan player really can't. And you drop the blader, then they pass turn, you swing for 28, and it's okay, fine, I'll take it. And then because you don't want to summon anything into their back row, and then the next thing you know, they drop Colossal Fighter on your Crimson Blader, and it's all she wrote, or they blaster it, or just summon blaster, run it over, or they just use Silver Scry and use Blue Eyes to run the shit over. There's so many various ways that they can swing the tempo back in their favor, simply because they can run back row. So as a Sylvan player, you have to be careful of that. You got, like, again, it's paramount that you keep the field spell up, getting those free excavations every turn, conserving your Sylvania's play so that you get maximum usage on your hermit trees and your excavation effects. Dropping a stable field every turn, to keep the dragon player at bay, because they suffer the same problem we do as time is, the sometimes their dragon rulers are free, and they have infinite dragon ruler summons sometimes. The problem is they can die to small pokes, and so as a Sylvan player, you have to realize that maybe you won't be able to just overpower them OTK them outright. You just have to poke them to death while they're trying to set something up. Lightsworn rulers, my God, nothing is safe between Lila and Judgment Dragon and Blaster and Light Ray Diablos, all being threats to you. It's just like nothing is safe. And what I found is dropping an early Crimson Blader on their Raiden or on their special summon, trying to find a way to drop that early Crimson Blader, or that if you go first, drop that early Felgrand to keep them from milling. Sometimes they'll get that Needlebug's nest off, but if they don't have a Necro Gardener, you go in with the Blader like as soon as possible, force them to use a Soul Charge play, and try to overcome their Soul Charge play with your own, because some of these decks, they can take a Crimson Blader hit and then wait out a turn, and then on the next turn hit you back. So you just have to be sure that you're keeping them from milling. Get those well-timed Crimson Blader hits in, and you should be okay. Next up, Boojins. This matchup to me isn't really a problem if I can control the game early. If the game drags on too long, then you don't have very much time to win, because Boojins can outgrind you. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Yeah, sure. Negating Yamato with Felgrand a couple times, that can clinch it, but they can unseat Felgrand. The Thrasher builds, the ones that are main decking Chalice, they can turn one, negate the Felgrand. So that means you set up your Wombo combo, the Sylvan Wombo combo, with your Soul Charge, you drop the Felgrand and start a Spark or what have you. They can still go in on you with that main deck Chalice, and then you're just stuck as a Sylvan player. So be wary of that. Geargias, aka Set Everything, aka Backrow.deck. With them, Carnogram and number 80, that combo, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, and those who have more money, Giant Hand and number 80, making Giant Hand Thunder Attack, runs over Felgrand, plus banishes your Lone Fires, your big trees, screws up your Soul Charge plays, the infinite back row they can run, the in-phase gear. And in this matchup, I suggest that if you go second, try to stick a plant. If you have an opportunity to make a good Soul Charge play and everything goes uninterrupted, a lot of times instead of going for Felgrand, I'll go Felgrand, Alcé. He's the 3200 defense guy that bounces a card, and try to bounce their set armor. The reason I say that is because since Alcé is a plant, if they in-phase gear you, Archer becomes your saving grace, and they don't get the free negate out of Felgrand. They have to work even harder, and you force them to play like a fair deck. Next up, we have spellbooks. You guys are all familiar with the field spell war. You play your Sylvania, get your combos going. They play tower. You mill your Sage Koya, get your mountain bag, play it over their tower, just back and forth. And it's like whoever can keep their field spell up the longest wins that matchup. Felgrand is really amazing in this, stopping Blue Boy, stopping Priestess, those kind of things. Remember that if they play power on Priestess, you can negate Priestess, or you can target Priestess with Felgrand's effect, and on the chain, and then she's not affected by Spellbook of Power. Just be wary of Spellbook of Fate. Keep an eye on how many books they have in the graveyard. Game 2, I side Soul Release versus Lightsworn. I like Soul Release against spellbooks as well. You banish their world, you banish their priestesses, you banish their key spellbooks, like their banishing their eternity. If you banish their eternities and fate, that deck can't win. Straight up, the deck can't win. You hit they leave a eternity and a fate in the graveyard, and you hit those with Soul Release, they can't win. Or you hit their masters. Yeah, that deck has struggles big time. You have to seriously misplay to lose that game. Well, this video is running a little long, so I'm gonna have to make a part 2B to talk about the spellbook matchups. So stay tuned. It's Dubk Dad, and I'm out.